Hi, Stephen Burns here, Primary Mortgage Resource, and I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update as to what I am seeing in the market right now, in the real estate market. So one of the biggest things I'm seeing right now is it is finally cooling down. Over the last 2 years, we have seen the market that has just been on fire. And when the market's on fire like this, it's a seller's market, which means the sellers have the majority negotiating power and home values continue to climb. Now we're starting to see it come into a little bit more of a balanced market. And what a balanced market means is that the seller and the buyer has a little bit more of an even playing field when it comes to negotiating, which means home prices aren't going to be increasing as fast. It doesn't necessarily mean that the market is going into a buyer's market, but it means it's a little bit more balanced. So what we're seeing right now is we're seeing sellers actually have to compete with other sellers to sell their house. And sellers can't necessarily list their house as aggressively. So some of the things that they have to do in order to be more competitive as sellers, to have a little bit more of an even playing field, is they have to negotiate with buyers. They have to be willing to do more repairs, maybe offer some credits, because the interest rates, yes, they are climbing. With the interest rates going up means that there's less buyers available. And when there's less buyers, good thing for buyers is there's less competition. But to get a buyer to buy the house, they may have to offer some seller credit to help offset that higher interest rate, and maybe help use that seller credit to buy down the interest rate, or help the buyer have less out of pocket for closing costs, to help deaden the blow a little bit, to say, when you're talking about these higher interest rates. Because if you look at the last 2 years, good news for buyers is you're not competing with dozens and dozens of other really strong offers. You're competing with maybe 5 or so buyers, where it's not dozens and dozens. So that gives you an opportunity, especially as a first-time home buyer, to come in with a lower down payment, do an FHA loan, 3.5% down, or maybe a 3% down conventional, and actually have your offer accepted. Maybe even ask for some seller credits if the market's in your area is softening up a little bit more than others. So these are all different things for you as a buyer to be aware of, that now might be a really good opportunity to enter back into the market. And something that you don't necessarily want to bank on, because you don't know and you can't predict the future. But interest rates right now, they are in the 5s, and for a conventional loan, they're in the 5s. Whereas if you buy a house now, there might be a chance that interest rates come back down in the future. So you buy the house now, and potentially within the next 12, 24 months, you might be able to lower that monthly payment by having a lower interest rate. So again, you can't really bank on that, but it's a potential opportunity that you can look forward to if rates come back down. But you have to be aware, it's not necessarily guaranteed, and you have to be comfortable with that monthly payment that you start with. But at least you're locked in. If rates do go up, your interest rate's going to be where it's at now. It's not going to go back up. So if you're a seller, though, as a seller, you have to be willing to negotiate with the buyers. If you want to be competitive as a seller, there's still certain areas that are still really hot markets where there's still a lot of competition when it comes to buyers, and the seller still has a very large upper hand. But we're really starting to see that playing field starting to level out. So just be aware that in your market, you may have to offer some credits, be willing to make some repairs. You have to be willing to negotiate. You can't just expect to list it high and get bids that go even higher. It's not that market anymore. This is as of July 2022. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out.